am Shadmi, your favorite. If you want to know more about national and international news, do watch News Roundup twice a month on DRTV International.
And you'll be informed on science, economy, finance, sport, and so on. Don't miss your favorite English program, News Roundup.
News Roundup, your best English program.
Hello, good evening or good morning, wherever you are. You're watching this program, News Roundup, on DRTV International. So right now, let's have news in details. Under the coordination of His Excellency Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, President of the Republic and Head of State, it has been held in Brazzaville, a Board of Ministers, last Thursday on May 5, 2022, by video conference, and 15 items were examined and, of course, adopted. Have a look on this report and know more about the issue. Ça, c'est le Conseil des ministres. The first issue presented by the Minister of Primary Secondary Education and Literacy, one draft and one decision of the Council of the Ministers under the Ministry of Territorial Administration, Decentralization and Local Development, 10 draft under the Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Technical Innovation, one communication from the Ministry of Trade, Supply and Consumer Affairs, appointments under the Ministry of Territorial Development, Infrastructures and Road Maintenance, and of course the Ministry of Communication and Media. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education and Literacy, one bill establishing the National School for Initial and Teachers Training. The conclusion of these reports led in particular to the need to improve the two main areas of initial teachers training, INI and NS, and to emphasize continuous training. It is in this context that the project to create the National School for Initial and Continuing Teachers Training was conceived, located in Muyonzi, Buenza Department, so the construction work having already been completed. An essential link in the chain of schools and universities in the Congo, so the National Schools for Initials and Consulting Teacher Training is placed under the supervision of the Ministry of Higher Education, Scientific Research and Technical Innovation. The expected regulatory text, to particular the future statutes to ensure coordination and collaboration with the two other ministries in charge of education, primary and secondary education, and of course technical education. Finally, the two is attached to the Pointe Noire Academy itself, created by the decision of February 4th, 2021. After review and discussion, the Council of Ministers approved the bill establishing the National School for Initial and Continuing Teachers Training. It will be sent to Parliament for consideration and adoption. The Ministry of Territorial Administration, Decentralization and Local Development, invited to take the floor in turn by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Denis Sassou Nguesso. To take the floor, of course, Mr. Guy-Georges Mbaka, Minister of Territorial Administration, Decentralization and Local Development, submitted for consideration and adoption by the Council of Ministers a draft and invited the Council of Ministers on the need to replace senators who died during the legislature. The draft decree convened the electorate for the legislative and local elections in July 2022. The provision in force condition the realization of the main proposals operations to the prior convocation of the electorate. These operations are setting the periods of submitting applications, the processing of these validation commission, the publication of single ballot papers, the appointment of electoral staff and their training, the deployment of electoral staff. Monday, July 4th, 2022 for the votes of the members of the military 1. Sunday, July 10, 2022 for the general vote. On the second point, the Council of Ministers considered the situation following the draft of 4 senators from the departments of Le Koumou, Pointe-Noire, Poul, and Sanga, and who died during the legislature. Having conducted that it was necessary to replace these missing MPs, the Council of Ministers decided dissolving the administrative and educational structure below. The Ministry of Commerce, Supply and Consumption. The meeting of the Council of Ministers held on April 6, 2022, Mr. Alphonse Claude Silou, Minister of State, Minister of Trade, Supplies and Consumption, reminded Council Minister that the COVID-19 pandemic and the events currently unfolding Ukraine have severely affected world trade. And of course, to end, some appointments, of course, have been made, mainly to the Ministry of Communication and Media. In the framework of the World Press Freedom Day celebration, the Congolese High Council in charge of media, in partnership with UNESCO, held a conference on press freedom in the Republic of Congo for topics such as press and politics, role of press in the electoral system, then of course the journalism and digitalization. One more time, have a look on this report.
Liberté de la presse. It was an opportunity for the Congolese Higher Council in charge of media in partnership with UNESCO to celebrate in Brazzaville the World Press Freedom through a conference gathered media professionals, human rights, NGOs, and associations dealing with press freedom issues. The thing is to make sure about the enforcement of press freedom in the Republic of Congo. The conference aims was to inform the government about the world press abuses when it comes to free media, press freedom, freedom of expression, then the freedom of collecting information and broadcasting. The government and the press should work together hoping the freedom of the people's right. The president of the National Higher Council for Press Freedom, Philippe Vaux, has historically remind the task and role of press in including numbers of TV stations, radios, newspapers, as well as online media. He said our institution's role is to guarantee and protect Congolese media against fake news. The World Press Freedom Day has been in 1993. Freedom of speech or freedom of expression applies to ideas of all kinds, including those that may be deeply offensive. While international law protects free speech, there are instances where speech can legitimately restricted under the same law, such as when it violates the rights of others or advocates hatred and incites discrimination or violence. However, any restrictions on freedom of expression must be provided by law, protect certain public interests or the rights of others, and be clearly necessary for that purpose. In 2018, Amnesty International published research that found that Twitter is a platform where violence and abuse against women flourish, often with the little accountability. Instead of the platform being a place where women can express themselves freely and where their voices are strengthened, Twitter leads women to self-censor what they post and limit their interactions. As a company, Twitter is failing its responsibility to respect women's rights online by inadequately investigating and responding to reports of violence and abuse in a transparent manner.
Maloba Festival 4th edition was held in Brazzaville, so during 1 week, theaters, dances, and of course the Congo were shown through an exhibition. Our reporter Dick Ansala was there, and here is the report.
The festival goal was to rebuild culture in the country. People from France, Gabon, Congo, Tanzania have shown very well, and the Democratic Republic of Congo have shown African dances during a week. The fourth edition of International Theater and Dance of Congo through Theater has put together countries' experience then shared with others. Maloba is a Congolese theater and dance platform that put forward African music, theater, when it comes to expressing African talents. So this year, there were culture and development they have displayed throughout Brazzaville, mainly at French Institute, Zola Institute, Kebana Village in Talanga Equator, and the Memorial Child Playground. The festival creator said they have honored women through dances and theater. It's also an opportunity to train students on sounds and lights. This is really to detect talented people before granting certificates. Hugues Leboigny, Maloba theater creator, underlined the use of theater and as it used to be. Today's culture can be sold and made profit out of it. That make people competitive to local. Today's culture can be sold and made profit out of it, then make people competitive to local and international market. Maloba Festival kickoff was given by the head of staff of the Minister of Culture and Arts, Bernard Eloko.
The Congolese media professionals have created a new organization called JEC, Congo Journalists and Ethics, in order to defend journalist duty and rights. One more time, Dick Ansala was there, and here is the details.
Sortie officielle de l'Organisation des journalistes du Congo. The organization is created for helping and assisting Congolese media professionals in improving as well their profession, but also defend their rights. To put the deontology and professional ethics forward is one of the objectives of the organization. Arsène Séverin Muela, executive chairperson, expressed his gratitude to talented journalists and wish to do more through training and journalists' rights. They want to promote new quality of journalism in the Republic of Congo. Media professionals should work harder in collecting news and broadcast. Our job is to help, assist, and lead the way. So, association membership is half free of charge, and members' monthly contribution is needed. Journalist capacity building is then part of the organization vision this year, as well as training online medias. The role of the association includes improving journalists' legal awareness and their skills in dealing with legislations that restrict. The role of the association includes improving journalists' legal awareness and their skills in dealing with legislation that restricts the media and professional development.
Learning English in Brazzaville is just a matter of choosing a good English center. The one we have visited is American Discovery, and there people are keen to speak English in a record time. Have a look on this report.
American Discovery Center is one of the well-known English centers in Brazzaville, and it's been existing for 23 years, then trained many people seeking for writing, reading, and speaking skills. Vianney Ndala is the leader.
The association is named Discover America English Club, and we are here to promote training, free training based on methodologies for teachers and interpreters. Then we are going to take profit to share what we received from the U.S. Embassy back long ago. The training are based in English because we used to train teachers of English. The training is based on the methodology to understand how to teach people, to train people in a good way. We used to do it here in Brazzaville, but we received training in so many countries abroad. So we had the training in Dubai, training in South Africa. So training at the US Embassy, and even myself, I used to work as interpreter and translator for the US Embassy for many, many years. And sometimes we take time to teach also interpreters of English and French. Training people on interpreting, but it's simultaneous interpreting and consecutive interpreting. So we are teaching people techniques and also body language and attitude when you translate for VIPs and country authorities. So we are training people in all competencies and how they can be able to translate with a lot of skills.
Located in the center of Brazzaville, American Discovery English Center got digital equipment and communication facilities to make things suitable, and students are happy about that.
So I have been a student here for 8 months. So I decided to learn English to make myself very good in terms of professional place, so that I can be the best of those who are working today in our country. So today we don't need to ask ourselves why and what we are learning English, because that we are seeing the way that the world is going on, and we know that English language is the first one who is taught by many persons around the world. So I don't want to facing any issues. For example, when I travel, for example, at the airport, for example, at the same place, any place, to have any problem to speak English. So reason for why I decided to learn English. And also, one of my teachers told me that today, if you want to have a good job, you have to have a good command of English. And also, I used to be with those persons who already have some experience, professional experience, and they decided to learn English, but they are living very good, but they decided to come back to school and to learn English. So I don't want to do like them. I want to give my best and to learn English.
Just tell us what's your name.
Sidre Lekulinkani I am.
Cedric?
Sidre Lekulinkani I am.
Good. So tell us, why are you learning English?
First of all, I really love English. It's for me a big passion. The second part of that is the most spoken language around the world. You see? And that language helps you to be in touch with many people. And I really love to be in touch with people, discovering new word, new way of thinking. Reason why I decide to give myself to English.
That's good. Do you believe that this center can give you what you want?
Absolutely, because I think I'm here 10 months around, something like, and as you can see, I'm a witness. I'm a witness, and I can give witnesses, because I've been working in some English center, but the way of teaching was not the same with here. Then I put my feet here, then I've noticed I've learned many things in English and the way of doing things that I've seen that was very interesting, different with other English center.
That's great. So many people are watching you right now on DRTV International. If you have an advice to call them to come to learn English as you're speaking now.
Okay. So first of all, I'm going to say it, don't be ashamed or don't be afraid. Just come. Just come, because better to see than speeches, because they used to tell you maybe stories, but just come and have a seat by your own. Like in Bible, I think Baptiste, something like, who did it. Just come and see. More you will see, I think you'll be really interested by what we are doing here, and I think you will never move again.
Wow, fantastic. Applause. Okay, thank you. It was held this Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022 in Dolisie, the official ceremony of the release of the first cohorts of the project promoters conducted by FIGA in partnership with non-financial support structures or institutions under the patronage of Jacqueline Lydia Mikolo, the Congolese Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises and Aircraft. Reports. In addition to this successfully completed incubation phase, you have a bankable and financeable businesses plan ready to obtain credit with the guarantee of FIGA, said the General Manager of FIGA, Ahmed Fridolin Boulukwe, addressing project promoters guarantee of FIGA first cohort in the presence of the Prefect of Niari, Frédéric Baron Bozok, and the representatives of the Interdepartmental Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Agriculture, Art and Craft Department of Niari, Bouenza and Lekomo. The 46th file returned following the selection of these first cohorts of projects promoters in Dolisie Department of Niari and Madingu Department of Bouenza relates to several sectors of activities with high added value with a strong potential for job creation: agriculture, livestock, agro-food, fish farming, processing of local products, etc. The overall cost of financing needs expressed in investments and working capital amount of 327 million francs CFA after the incubation, which has just ended. The financial partners, in particular banks and microfinance, will support these companies. FIGA undertakes to provide guarantees for up to 80% in credit coverage, boosting entrepreneurship and encouraging project owners who have just taken a new step. The Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises and Crafts and the informal sector, Jacqueline Lydia Mikolo, indicated that the approach consists of boosting the entrepreneurial dynamic of young people by pushing them their institutional reforms in favor of very small and medium businesses across the country. Though, according to her, the FIGA is positioned not only as an instrument of economic and social inclusion, but also as one of the levers of the policy of promoting employment and combating unemployment. The current context, marked by the opening of markets, free trade, and the financial crisis, place entrepreneurship at the center of economic and social development issues. Because it provides wealth, creates jobs, and generates the incomes necessary for the fight against poverty, said the Minister Jacqueline Lydia Mikolo. She also indicated that the Ministry of Small and Medium Businesses and Crafts and the informal sector, with the support of partners, will continue the initiative by taking the necessary measures, said the emergence of businesses work to improve the business climate, simplifying businesses creation procedures. Also, the continuation of reforms of flexible taxation adapted to project promoters, the promotion and competitiveness of local products, access to financing, as well as the implementation of sectoral production pools with a view to the alerts of project owners of the first cohorts. Congratulated in Dolisie the mayor of the city, Ghislain Rodrigue Ngimbi Makoso, recalled that the hardest part begins because with the integration into the African Free Trade Zone, ZLECAf, they are already in competition with other entrepreneurs in their respective sectors. You are required to constantly challenge yourself to continue to innovate and maintain a permanent information watch in the face of the competition, he said. And of course, young entrepreneurs welcome to the government's effort to give them the opportunity to develop small and medium-sized businesses. We've seized the opportunity that FIGA gave us to develop our activities, said Aureole Malonda, beekeepers in the surrounding village of Dolezine. It is therefore up to this first cohort of project promoters to show responsibility by showing the example and the way to others in order to sustain this initiative by creating the momentum necessary for a real Congolese business dynamic across the country. The Minister of Culture, Dieudonné Moyo, received in audience the last Tuesday in Brazzaville Sébastien Mortier, UNESCO expert. A village called Mbe, located in the northern part of Congo, will be zone of UNESCO patrimoine.
Mbe classé site de l'UNESCO. Village called Mbe, located to the northern part of the Republic of Congo, might be selected UNESCO patrimony as the Ministry of Culture did focus on Congolese rumba music months ago. To make things happen, the Congolese Minister of Culture and Art, Dieudonné Moyo, talked about it earlier this week with UNESCO experts. The UNESCO delegation came to show the minister the use of Mbe village to be selected as UNESCO patrimony. The issue has been in the agenda for a long time but delaying by COVID-19. UNESCO experts said, "We went to Mbe to get close to the site and know more about it, then report to the minister." It is really a touristic site with a wonderful panorama. The good news about it is that its historical kingdom capital would be all part of UNESCO soon by sure. It is an intangible site. We want to keep it so because it may be deeper. We have seen many good and exciting things there, elephants, birds, and forests that should be respected. It allows the population to be connected with the nature. However, for sure in 2025, that Mbe can be shortlisted in UNESCO patrimony list. Remember, the village is classified in UNESCO culture category. Congo has already introduced the Congolese rumba dance to UNESCO as an intangible heritage. UNESCO has been taking action in Mbe village in order to improve the conditions. That legacy aims to contribute to the long-term survival of this unique natural legacy. This is an opportunity to take stock and enable the general public to appropriate the treasures of the country.
The National Economic and Financial Committee of Congo had a two-day workshop on awareness of the law relating to factoring and releasing. The opening ceremony, of course, was done by the Deputy National Director of the Bank of Central African States, Mr. Ponzu Bayon, on behalf of the Congolese Minister of Finance, Budget and Portfolio, Rigobert Roger Ondeli, and is in his capacity as Secretary General of the National Committee. Jeremy Ferre has the details.
Law number 54/2021 of December 31st, 2021, governing factoring activity in the Republic of Congo, defines factoring as an operation by which the member transfers by an agreement or written contract with subrogation effect its receivables from the factor who, in return for payments, pays it in advance or all parts of the amount of the transferred receivables, while bearing or not, in accordance with the agreements, the risks of possible insolvency on the assigned receivables. There are two kinds of factoring. Firstly, factoring with recourse, which is a factoring operation under which the factor reserves the right to be reimbursed by the member in the event of the debtor's insolvency. Secondly, non-recourse factoring, which is a factoring transaction under which the participant does not guarantee the factor against the insolvency of the debtor. Factoring has four main advantages: access to additional financing, lower interest rates, coverage of the risk of non-payment, and management services. Law number 55, 2021 of December 31st, 2021, instituting leasing in the Republic of Congo defined leasing as a credit transaction intended to finance the acquisition or use of movable or immovable property for professional. It consists of the rental of capital goods, tooling, equipment, or real estate for professional use, essentially purchased or built with a view to this rental by companies which remain the owners. These rental operations, whatever their name, give the leases the option of acquiring all or part of the leased property for an agreed price, taking in account, at least in part, the payments made as rent. A financial lessor is any credit institution, microfinance institution, or any financial institution that finances leasing operations. We call financial leasing any financial leasing transaction relating to movable property consisting of equipment, materials, and tools necessary for the activity of the lessee. Real estate leasing is defined as any leasing transaction related to immovable property for professional use purchased or built at the request and on behalf of the lessee, together with the possibility for the latter at the last test on expiration of the lease to gain ownership of all or part of the lease property, and so on. The three main advantages of leases are access to additional financing without external guarantees, less cumbersome formalities, and the non-requirement of a personal equity contribution. These 2 days seminar, organized by the National Committee, were divided into 6 panels corresponding to the following themes: the presentation of the laws through opportunities and challenges, the technique of structuring and setting up a leases transaction, the technique of structuring and setting up a factoring operation, the sharing of experience of the Postal Bank of Congo on the practice of factoring, sharing the experience of BGFI Bank on practice of leases. The key factors are for the success of the reform and the outlook.
And of course, this is not the end. Before we close off edition, please don't go. Stay tuned. Watch our program 10 Minutes With. And today, Jadmi Ferret had talks with the Secretary General of Pan-African Festival Union.
The interview we just had with SG, who is a #1 postman on the continent. I would like to add that he's not just the #1 postman on this continent, but he's actually the postal pilgrim. Postal pilgrim, why? Because what the Africa's postal industry is experiencing, the challenges we are experiencing, it goes beyond the mere call of duty. We have to rejuvenate, revive, and transform the post. And there, the hat he's wearing, the staff he's holding is actually, we can actually say, and rightfully, that he's the #1 postal pilgrim in Africa.
We are so happy to welcome the Secretary General of Pan-African Postal Union to Brazzaville. This shows very well the relation between the Congolese Post and this African Union spelled agency. Of course, our expectation is to have the support of Pan-African Postal Union that also assists many African posts. And our ambition is to get closer to the populations, even the deeper ones, through our digital products. The Congolese Post should be the link between the government, business, and the populations. Then make sure that the post makes people's lives easier. We are right now developing digital in our system, mainly electronic wallet, money transfer, so far bring the post close to the population through the administration. And of course, the post is going through a historic period. Talking about Ocean, a wonderful digital and innovation platform that allows sub-regional posts to be known, then exchange ideas and improve the African post to be.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having me in your program, and good evening, viewers. My name is Sifundu Chief Moyo. I am the Secretary General of the Pan-African Postal Union, which is an African Union specialized agency for coordinating postal development in Africa, and this organization is based in Arusha, Tanzania.
Thank you so much. If you don't mind, for how long have you been here in the Republic of Congo? And we know that you had an audience with the minister this morning. If you can tell us more.
Okay, thank you very much. I've been here for the past 3 days, and I have had the pleasure of meeting the Honorable Minister. And today we had a meeting with the Honorable Minister where we discussed a lot of issues to do with the postal development in this country, the status of the La Poste du Congo, and what needs to be done for it to be transformed into one of the powerhouses here in Africa. And we also spoke about the kind of interaction that we want to see happening between the government of the Congo Republic and the Pan-African Postal Union, where at the end of it all, as the General Secretariat of PAPU, we pledged our support to the government of the Congo Republic in ensuring that the post office here does not only survive, but it grows and becomes a viable business.
So you are the right person who will be assisting Congo first based on that. So we'd like to know, how will you help Congo to do that so that it survives?
Thank you very much. I think I must say from the onset that the challenges that are here in Congo are not unique to the Post Office of Congo alone. These are challenges that are facing a number of postal organizations across the world. And these challenges are not only unique to the postal industry. These challenges are there for all the businesses that you can think of. And mostly they have been accelerated by the COVID-19 pandemic, which crippled businesses across the world, whether airlines, whether producers, the logistics companies, everyone was affected by this pandemic. And I'm happy to see that as people, we have found a way of moving away and continuing with our lives, even with the threat of the COVID-19 situation. So from a postal perspective, the solution lies with digital transformation. The digital transformation of the post is not negotiable, and the digital transformation of the post will help the post to produce services and the post will be able to do that in an efficient way and in a way that helps to meet the customer expectations.
Note that the digital transformation is a right way for Congo to really face the challenges, like through solutions that you will really bring.
Yes, we provide the direction where they should be going. The solution providers are plentiful in the market. Congo have the opportunity to choose the suppliers that suit their conditions, and what is critical is to appreciate that technology is in abundance and technology is accessible to anyone, and Congo Post can also use technology for it to operate efficiently and profitably. And most importantly, the technologies can come in different sizes. They are scalable depending on the size of the operator. So they will have that opportunity to choose the technologies that they need for them to play in the e-commerce space, for them to be able to provide e-government services. And I'm also excited to see that they are already playing in the mobile money space.
Talking about the e-commerce technology, so we may say that nowadays the ITC is kind of moving forward based on your great, solid, bright experience in the union, in the postal union. So do you think that we may say that the market is more competitive now?
The market is competitive, and now that you have brought in the issue of the e-commerce in relation to the post office, you may want to know that the postal industry is organized in a way where at the global stage, we have the Universal Postal Union, which is a United Nations intergovernmental organization charged with dealing with international postal services. And the UPU, as we know it in short, has developed what is called the dot post, which is a top-level domain infrastructure that is very secure for e-commerce activities, because when you deal with e-commerce activities, you need to be very advanced in terms of protection of consumer data, in terms of protection of financial transactions, even for the supplier.
Anything to say to our viewers?
What I would need to say to your viewers is that La Poste du Congo is your post office. You have to support it. There is no country in the world which survives without a post office. It is like your breath. When you are breathing, doing your normal chores, you don't feel that you are doing anything. But you just have to wait for someone to choke you or something to choke you for you to realize the importance of the breath. The post office is very important. It is important when it comes to inclusion, social inclusion. When we talk of financial inclusion, it reaches everyone, everywhere. It is important when it comes to trade facilitation. When we are referring to SMEs, the post office is the easiest channel to get to the rest of the world. And when we talk of government services, they can be rolled out efficiently through the post office. And therefore, it is important that when the post office comes to you as the citizens of Congo, asking what kind of services you want to see from them, give them the information, they'll develop solutions and support them so that they remain viable, and in turn you can access services conveniently without going to distances for that to happen.
Thank you so much. To access easily our post office, we have to be united together for our bright future. So the post office is not only the problem of the government, also for us as citizens to stand up for that. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
Pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdi. You have the floor.
Hello and welcome to this new edition. Good afternoon. This is your favorite English program, News Roundup, broadcasting in Brazzaville from the Republic of Congo.
Thank you, Mr. Ferdi. Thank you, dear viewers. Hello and welcome on our News Roundup.
My name is Diane Miller, and I am a regional English language officer.
Mandela Washington Fellowship is a US-sponsored program.
And I also want to thank my dad and my uncle. My dad is Mr. Armand Pongo.
Telling something about my education.
Good.
I am a product of Marengobe University.
Oh, sure.
And what I can say is during that meeting we have seen that the prices are going higher and higher.
Yes. Why not American university can come here and build an university?
Yes.
And English is a very important language.
Leaving a little bit of something to the Congolese people in that way.
Sure.
But I thank everybody for the warm welcome I received while I'm here. I've been able to explore a little bit of your country. I've been to Pointe Noire. I've been in the Pool region. I wish I'd had time to explore more.